All right, hello and welcome to the webinar, Support Your Energy, Sleep, and Weight After 40 with Simple Daily Habits. And I'm your host, Dr. Erin Foley. So this information is for you if you've tried many things with your hormones and health and are still struggling with energy, weight, and sleep. And I hear this all the time. You're too overwhelmed with too much information. I mean, we have Dr. Google, we have AI, the internet, friends, influencers, and sometimes it can just be too much. And this is for you if you've ever said, I know what to do with my health, but I can't get myself to do it. I hear this one all the time. Women do have a lot of information. You may know things to do, but it's very hard to get yourself to do it if you have certain things going on like stress and overwhelm. I've also heard I'm tired of starting over again every Monday. I'm tired of trying to figure this out on my own. And I'm just tired. And that's a big one. So, and this is for you if you're open to some support or guidance in taking the next steps with your health and hormones. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Erin Foley, and I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I've been in practice over 30 years. I stopped practicing chiropractic hands-on in 2020. I was national board certified in acupuncture for 20 years. I love doing acupuncture and chiropractic together. It's great for pain and injury. I've been certified in functional medicine since 2014. And I'm also currently a national board certified health and wellness coach. And I do functional medicine, hormone testing, health coaching, customized nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle. I work one-on-one, I work in group programs, I work virtually, and I'm an author, speaker, and I have a YouTube channel. Okay, so let's get down to what we're going to talk about today. The first thing we have to understand about energy, sleep, and weight is your hormones. So we have an iceberg here, and when we're looking at the tip of the iceberg, we're going to look at that first. So the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, is your perimenopause and menopause, is your 40s to your 60s. It varies between women. You've got your estrogen, your progesterone, and your testosterone, and that will be the tip of the iceberg. It will change whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. But estrogen is a hormone that is, you need it for sleep. It does affect your weight, and it does affect your brain and your cognitive function. So as we age, as women, one of the things is that, brain fog and kind of losing that cognitive ability as we get older comes from the decline in estrogen. Progesterone helps with calm and sleep, testosterone, strength, stamina, and libido. So these are important hormones, but they happen at different times in your life. So when we really want to look at your hormones, we want to look at the under part of the iceberg, which is your metabolic hormones. You have these hormones whether you're 35 or 75. So you have your cortisol. This is a stress hormone. It affects your sleep, your energy, your weight, belly fat, mood, and focus. And you're going to see something that kind of a pattern here through all these hormones, that they're all overlap. Your insulin is your blood sugar. This comes from what you eat. It affects your energy, your weight, your mood, your sleep. Your thyroid affects your energy, your weight, your metabolism. And these hormones you have whether you're 35 or 75. So I have a lot of women who say to me, well, I'm past menopause. I've already gone through menopause. I don't have any hormones. Yes, you do. You have hormones. I've worked with women up to 78 years old because they still have these metabolic hormones. And all of these hormones affect your energy, weight, and sleep more so in general than your female hormones. So the bottom of the iceberg has a lot more effect on your health and how you feel. So let's talk about small daily habits, why they matter. So what you do every single day affects your hormones. All those boring little habits that you do every day. We get up and we do this. We go through the day. They're all habits, and it will affect how you feel and how your hormones function. Your daily routines determine your health and how you feel. Okay, so Who knew that the hardest part of being an adult is figuring out what to cook for dinner every single night for the rest of your life until you die? I mean, who feels that way? I mean, every woman I talk to feels this way, because you're in the trenches here. It's like, it doesn't matter if you cook or if you order out or if you do meal delivery, it's like you still have to figure out what to eat. So habits matter. So habits are about how you start your day. That has a lot to do with your energy. And how you end your day has a lot to do with your sleep. Routines with food, sleep, exercise, mindset, self-care affect your weight, your sleep, and your energy. They're all intertwined. And you have habits. So are you intentional with yours? And you know, you may have really good habits. You may have some habits you're not even aware of that may not be helpful. So that's what we're going to, dive into here. Okay, so let's talk about energy. So where does energy come from? What hormones do you need to know about? Cortisol is your stress hormone. So I know anybody who's listened to me, or I think most women I talk with, know what cortisol is. Everybody raises their hand now that they know what cortisol is. But here we have a bear. We have Mama Bear here. And Mama Bear is, if she's chasing you down the trail and you're going for a hike and there's Mama Bear, you're going to have your cortisol, which is it's a survival hormone. It's going to keep you safe. It's going to help you survive, fight or flight. So, but it's meant to calm down when the threat is gone. However, what most women have is a little bear chasing them every single day. So all day long, they've got a little bear or little bears keeping them in a stress cycle, okay? So cortisol will affect the energy, especially if it's high. So if your cortisol, when it gets activated for a while, it can be really high, which can affect you and make you tired but wired, cause issues with sleep. Over time, it can deplete. So you can have very low cortisol and you're exhausted and tired and you just don't know why. That is a cortisol issue, and we have to look back at what's going on stress-wise in your life. Blood sugar is what you eat. And these two are related. So if your blood sugar crashes, your cortisol comes in to raise it up. Your thyroid affects your energy. So these are the hormones that will affect how you feel with your energy. Okay, so let's go on to, energy patterns. So this is what I hear from women. The two biggest things women come to me for are energy, like tired, and weight, and then sleep. So a common one is tired all day, afternoon or morning energy slumps, energy crashes during the day, or you reach for caffeine or sugar and you're not sure, you just do it, or you wake up tired, or you need or want a nap. And, with this, sometimes women don't really know that they're that tired until we really dive into it in a session. It's like, oh, okay. They realize how tired they really are and they're pushing through the day. Okay, so let's talk about, I'm going to give you an example here. Janine, I worked with her. She was 47. She had high stress, extreme fatigue, no energy, weight gain, stress eating, bad sleep, low mood, low libido, eating out a lot, and she was too tired to meal plan. And it's not that meal planning has to fall on the woman, but it usually does in a family. She did have a supportive husband. She had 2 teenage daughters, and her husband was so supportive. He took them out to dinner pretty much every single night to really decent restaurants. Like, it wasn't fast food or anything, or it was takeout. So, but she was the hub of the family and she was sinking. So we did hormone testing, a custom plan with nutrition, supplements, lifestyle, and coaching. And here's what changed for her. Habit change and health coaching was a key factor in her success. She needed accountability and support, because you can find out what's going on with your hormones with testing, but you still have to do the things to make the change. So with her, because she was really in a downward spiral, we worked together weekly, 1 week at a time. She stopped eating out and did meal plan and prep. She did, and you can get really creative. It's like, you don't have to be a cook. You can do meal delivery, and there's a lot of things out there that can support you with this, and family help in the kitchen. She had more energy, started walking and doing yoga. She started sleeping better, was releasing weight, and more. She had more motivation and better mood. So all of these, you can see how this is an upward spiral. She's starting to, one thing feeds the other, and she starts feeling better, and she can do one more thing that pushes her in the right direction. She was setting goals and intentions with health coaching. And here's what we did on her health coaching sessions. Scheduling, she got out her planner. She did a paper planner, and she got out her book, and she scheduled in front of me while we were on the call, scheduled her exercise, her self-care, and her meal planning. And then now, does that mean she did all those things? Well, maybe she didn't get them all done, but she did them more than if she hadn't scheduled it in her book. She was able to start working in her business again because she couldn't work before we were working together. So those are examples of why habit change is so important, okay? So let's talk about 3 habits that support energy so that you can have something to think about here. So what we started with Janine, start your day with protein. Anybody who knows me hears me talk about protein all the time. And the only reason I do is because it's the one thing I see with almost all the women I work with. They're not eating enough protein. They're not eating it enough through the day. And this is kind of an easiest fix. Is you start eating the protein in the morning. Okay, it can be a protein shake. You don't have to do anything elaborate. You can eat protein at each meal. Usually most women, if you eat, just say 3 times a day, eat 20 to 30 grams of protein. And I'm going to give you a little bit more information on what that looks like in a little bit. Dial down the sugar and the high carb foods. These are the foods that are going to make your energy swing. And when I work with women one-on-one, it's like this is the easiest fix in the very beginning is to get the protein up, the carbs down, and their energy gets more steady and they start to feel better. And they're not so tired. Okay, so let's talk about sleep. The hormones that influence sleep, and you're going to see a crossover with all the hormones. Cortisol, your stress hormone, definitely influences sleep because if you have high cortisol, it will keep you awake. And so I have women who come in and they don't sleep, and then we test their cortisol and we find out their cortisol spiking during the night, and of course they're not going to sleep. So now we have to work on strategies to lower that cortisol at night. Blood sugar, what you eat can affect your sleep because I find a lot of women are eating too many carby snacks before bed, and then it swings their blood sugar overnight, and you can actually wake up from having low blood sugar at night. And estrogen. Low estrogen as we age as women in perimenopause and menopause can cause sleep issues. Now, I do not, as a chiropractor and functional medicine in my practice, I do not prescribe hormones. Sometimes hormones can be very, very helpful, and it's about quality of life. So that's something that you get to decide, but it's also, all of this information helps. I work with a lot of women, once we get their cortisol and blood sugar good, they start sleeping better, and then we're kind of figuring it out. Or if they're not sleeping better, maybe it is an estrogen issue. So let's talk about sleep patterns. Okay, so patterns you may be familiar with: difficulty falling asleep. You wake up frequently through the night. You wake up and you can't go back to sleep. Hot flashes or night sweats, that's a big one through perimenopause and menopause. That'll keep you awake. Feeling tired in the morning even though you think you slept. And not a morning person. Whoops. Let's go back here. Okay, so let's talk about Barb. She was 53 when she came to me, and she was really struggling with her sleep with low energy. Highly stressed in her life. She woke up frequently and could not go back to sleep. She was unrefreshed in the morning and thought she wasn't a morning person, and she pushed through her mornings. And she crashed in the afternoon and needed caffeine and sugar to get through the day. So she was stuck in the cycle of stress because of her stress level. And the cycle of stress is basically that the stress can affect your sleep. You can wake up tired. You're tired through the day. You have energy slumps. You use caffeine and sugar, which that will affect your sleep. Caffeine will affect a lot of people's sleep. Stress eating, weight gain, not eating healthy, and it just goes around and around and around. So we have to get in here and we have to break the cycle of stress. For her, with hormone testing, we found out she had very low cortisol in the morning and pre-diabetes. She was not a morning person because her cortisol was too low in the morning, and she had no gas in her tank. And she was eating too many sugars and carbs and not enough protein. So she was causing her blood sugar to swing, causing sleep issues, low energy, and cravings. And what we did with her over time, habit change and health coaching was a key factor in her success. She needed accountability and support to make the changes. So we needed to work on lowering her stress, and she needed to have awareness of where her stress was coming from. And week by week, she started adding in self-care. She previously had been too stressed to do any self-care. Removing things that didn't serve her and learning to say no. She started eating more protein. She lowered her caffeine. She swapped out sugary snacks for healthier options, and that could be, say, even like berries, healthy berries. She added in an evening wind down routine. She added in a morning routine. And all of this happened in small coaching steps week by week, because it may sound like this is a lot of things to do. But when you start with baby steps, you start doing one thing and have success, and then you do another thing, and then you add in more things, it can really just get the ball rolling in improving your hormones and feeling better. And once you're sleeping better, you have more energy and you feel better. And sleep is related to weight. And having healthier sleep can help your weight. So with Barb, with these small daily habit changes, she started sleeping through the night, had more energy in the morning. Sugar cravings reduced. She didn't need the caffeine, and was able to become aware of her stress and lower it, that's a huge thing. She lost 15 pounds easily, which she didn't think was possible. So 3 habits that can support your sleep. So we're going to start with a morning routine. If you do a morning routine, think about what you do, or maybe you don't have time, or you would like to start a morning routine. When I speak in front of groups, about half the group will say they do a morning routine. A morning routine, what does that mean? It doesn't have to be elaborate. It can be 5 minutes. It can be anything. It can be walking the dog around the block. It can be journaling, meditating, yoga. But here's a big thing. Stop phone first mornings. I've worked with a lot of women who've been very stressed, and they're waking up in the morning, and the first thing they do in their bed is they're on their email, the news, and social media. And they're scrolling and scrolling, and they're letting the outside world into their precious energy first thing in the morning. So even if you don't do a lot, a 5-minute morning routine is great, but stop your phone first mornings. Give yourself some time to breathe. Have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, and figure out what works for you, what your morning should look like. Okay, so an evening wind down routine. When I speak to women's groups, I usually find this is the one that women have. They put their hands up less for the evening wind down routine. I know we're all busy. Women are busy, especially if you have kids. But here's the thing, off devices an hour before bed. I know this is a tough one. But here's the thing. The blue light from the devices, the phones, the iPads, TVs, affect your sleep hormone, which is melatonin, which is how you go to sleep. And I've worked with women who, they have horrible sleep and horrible energy, and everything's a mess. And they're going to sleep with the TV on all night. And it's just keeping you so stimulated. I do read on an iPad. I read a Kindle on an iPad, not every night. I do like real books, but you can switch it to warm light. So like on Apple, you can switch it to night shift. And now you've got yellow warm light, and it's very easy to get used to. And I have it on my phone. You can set it to do at a certain time so that every night you're not getting that blue light. Evening wind down routine for sleep can also be whatever you want. It can be journaling, reading. I have a lot of women who do these the meditation apps that can help them relax and wind down. And so just, it's really up to you and what you want to do, but I would highly recommend getting off devices first thing in the morning and 1 hour before bed. And protein for dinner. Again, we got some protein going on here, because what I do see a lot of is if a woman that I'll have a woman I'm working with and she's not eating enough protein for dinner, it's too carbohydrate heavy, and then 2 hours later, she's craving popcorn and snacks that are more carby. And not that there's anything wrong with popcorn, but if you eat too many sugars before bed, you can put your blood sugar on the roller coaster, and then you can wake up in the middle of the night. You can wake up hungry. You could just wake up because your blood sugar is swinging. So protein for dinner. And the one thing I didn't put in here is just, if not everybody is sensitive to caffeine. But for some people, it can take 24 hours for you to clear your caffeine. So if you are, I had some DNA testing, so which showed that I'm actually okay with caffeine, and I drink black tea in the morning. But I always wondered that, and I still stop my caffeine by 9 o'clock. So you might want to play with it. If you have sleep problems, stop your caffeine by 10 a.m. or even earlier and just see. Because if you don't clear the caffeine in time, it's going to affect you for sleep. Okay, so, and dial down carbs and sugars and dial up protein and see if you feel better and you don't have those cravings before bed. Okay, so let's talk about weight. You're going to see a really same theme here. It's the same hormones are affecting everything. So cortisol will affect your weight and belly fat. If cortisol's high, it can actually cause that belly fat to come on. If you've ever noticed that you've been stressed, and I had this happen to me like 10 years ago. I was caregiving for my parents, and by the time I was done, it was at end of life for both of them. My weight was the same, but my shape was different. It's like it had accumulated more around the belly, and then it's like we had to work to get that to, get off. But it's really true that it can change your body shape or cause the belly fat. And also being stuck with your weight. I have a lot of women who come to me and they say they're doing, and we talk and it's like they're doing a lot of really, really, really good things. And it's like when we do their hormone testing, it's like, oh, well, you're not losing weight because you are stuck because you have a cortisol issue. And then the same thing with insulin. Blood sugar is affected by what you eat, and insulin's a fat storing hormone. So if it's high, that can cause you to be stuck with your weight too. Thyroid, weight, metabolism, and energy. And when I do work with women, I test their thyroid. And a lot of times I have to send women to their primary doctors and say, hey, you need some thyroid medication, because thyroid medication is hormone replacement therapy, and it's really necessary for your body if your thyroid is slow. And estrogen can affect your weight as you go. A lot of women will talk about perimenopause and menopause, that we've got this weight that wasn't there before, and now I really feel like in perimenopause and menopause, it's a combination of all these things. All these hormones that are changing all at once in tandem that make it so hard in perimenopause and menopause. Okay, so let's talk about, see where we are. Okay, Laura, 60. Okay, she felt really stuck with her weight, and she wanted to lose about 60 pounds. And she had tried all sorts of diets over the years. And for her, personally, dieting was no longer a fix, and she did not want to do a diet. She had a busy professional and family life, and she wanted to ride bikes with her husband and grandkids. So, habit change and health coaching, again, was a key factor in her success. She needed accountability and support. And she shifted her. So, this is what she gave me a testimonial after we were done working together. And she said she shifted her mindset and became more aware of her habits and food and was eating more protein and less carbs and sugars. Same pattern for her. And she said, I started achieving my goals of lifestyle change to become a healthier version of myself. And I've lost 25 pounds. I'm riding bikes and being active again. And also have more energy and no more cravings or afternoon slumps. And again, it was that accountability around helping her make the changes. So let's talk about 3 habits that can support weight. So really, when we think about weight, most women are thinking about weight loss or getting unstuck. But balancing your blood sugar is huge here. Protein with meals. You're just going to hear me say a lot about protein. And I've had women say that once they started doing this, they lost 5 pounds, like without even trying, because it was putting you in a more even place all day long with protein and balancing your blood sugar. Especially as we get older as women, we have to balance our blood sugar. Dial down carbs and sugars, up your protein. I'll give you a little bit more details soon. Lower stress with self-care. Now, this is a big one, and I know this is, you've got to figure out what your stress is, where it's coming from, what can you control, and that's what you work on. Self-care is non-negotiable, and self-care is not about just bubble baths and candles. It can be saying no, having boundaries, and looking at your schedule and starting to put you on your list, making yourself a priority. Okay, so let's talk about daily reset method with energy. Small daily resets equal big energy shifts. And I'm really, this whole thing is about habits and energy, or small daily resets and habits, because this is the gold. This is the magic that I see happen with women that I work with. And so many of us, and I hear this all the time, and even myself, it's all or nothing. We got to be perfect. If I can't do it all, then I'm not going to do it. So we have to look at how can you start really small and slow, and it does add up. So you start your day with protein, whatever that looks like. If you're busy and you don't have time to make an egg, then make a protein shake, okay? You can do it. Eat protein at each meal. And the big thing here is planning ahead. Going to have some planning. I do work with a lot of women who are stressed and their kind of food is not a priority. They're not thinking about it until they're hungry. And this is where just a little bit of planning comes in to help you get your protein for the day. What's your day look like? Where are you going to put your protein? What is it going to look like? Do you have snacks that you have to have, in your purse or your car? And dial down sugar and high carb foods, because sometimes when you are stressed, and this is another awareness, when you're stressed, what's the first thing you reach for? I've had women, the first thing they reach for is the potato chips and the cookies, and then they don't realize how bad that's making them feel. So just awareness around these things. Okay, so for sleep, small daily resets equal big sleep shifts. Choose one to do. Morning routine. It can be 5 minutes, it can be an hour, whatever it looks like to you. You could do some movement and even morning light. Right now in Colorado, it's like we can get out in the morning and get some light, which is really nice. Eat protein at dinner to stabilize your energy overnight. An evening wind down routine for sleep. So if you're doing all of these, that's awesome. If you're not doing any of these, or if you're doing 1 or 2, add 1 more in. And if you're doing a morning routine, what else would you like to do? We can always take it, if you're already at a level where you're doing a lot of things, and you can add another thing, or you can evaluate what you're doing and seeing what's working. And let's look at some small daily reset for big weight shifts. Again, protein with each meal. I'm like a broken record, but this is really truly the gold here. This is where I see this over and over with every woman I work with. Once we change this up, they start feeling better, and it's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to give you a tool here. So this tool is to, how do you know? So I've said eat protein over and over. How do you know? So there is a calculation of how much protein, and I would say generally speaking, most women will need 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal 3 times a day. That's how you can feel good. It doesn't matter your weight, which, your height, your weight, your activity level. But for right now, that's a standard, like 70 to 90. Track your food in a free app like MyFitnessPal or Lose It. And then that, first of all, you do that for 7 days. You're going to say, okay, how much protein am I eating every day? Is it consistent? Is one day I'm eating 30 grams a day, and the next day I'm eating 70, and the next day I'm eating 20? What are your carbs? Your energy can be directly tracked to how many proteins and carbs you're eating every day. And you can use a food scale to measure your protein. This is not about deprivation or restriction. It's about how much is 2 ounces of chicken. If I'm going to put it in my FitnessPal, what does it look like? I track, not every single day, but I have health goals, and I still sometimes track my protein because sometimes we eat too much. So, all right, so challenges to habit change. So a busy lifestyle, high stress, no accountability, putting yourself last, I'll do it tomorrow, and you're too tired. So these are a lot of things I hear from women, why they know what to do, but they can't get themselves to do it. So let's talk about, this is where the magic happens. I have a small habits changes equal big results. So when I work with women with health coaching, there's a variety of ways to work, but trained health coaches, we will work with big picture goals, 1 to 5 years. A lot of times it's that 1 year wellness vision goal. Like, what's your wellness vision? It's not just about health. It's about, what do you want to be doing with your, in your business, with your family? Do you want to be traveling? Do you want to be able to get down on the floor and play with your grandkids because you don't have any pain in your knees anymore because you've lost 20 pounds? These types of things. We work with 3-month goals. We work with weekly goals. This is how you get from that really small goal to the big changes. Janine, Barb, and Laura, especially, all 3 of them, they were in places that, Laura lost 25 pounds. Janine was in a dark hole, and they all came out of it by working with weekly small goals to success, and we kept it simple. Okay, so what you can do for hormones and health is goals. You want to know where you want to go. You want to have a plan, know how you want to get there. You want accountability, support to get there. And this is where the magic happens, because I talk to a lot of women who, like, if you don't start, you're going to be in the same place next year. And so as we get older, that gets a little scarier because we get a year older every year. So let's talk about what I have for you. I have my Vibrant Healthy Woman Collective, and it's a brand new, and I am a supportive online community for women over 40. Perimenopause and menopause, hormones, energy, sleep, weight, mood, healthy aging, all the things. Simple daily habit change. Health coaching, accountability for real life change. Doing the work I do with like Barb, Janine, and Laura in a group setting to help you get long-term results. Get unstuck with practical action. And who this is for is, this is for you if you're a woman over 40 noticing changes in energy, sleep, weight, mood, or metabolism, and your hormones. You feel like you know what to do, or maybe you've had a plan, but it's hard to stay consistent and make it work in real life. You want simple habits, not more complicated plans. And you're ready to focus on daily actions that can change how you feel. And you want support, accountability, and coaching, style guidance, and not have to do it all alone. Okay, so this is opening up right now. It's $57 a month for founding members. I'm keeping that open until 8/31, August 31st, and then it'll go to 77. Or somebody can join. You can join for $287 for 6 months. Pay for 5 months, get one free. And for anybody who joins with 6 months, you get a 45-minute private health coaching session with me to get you started. There's some bonus calls. We kick off on July 13th. Wellness Vision Call. It's a $300 value. I'll help you create your wellness vision. 2 bonus calls on June 29th and July 6th to jumpstart your hormones and habits. And then we're on the regular call schedule, which is the 2nd and 4th Mondays. These are the hormone and healthy habits calls. Focused hormone content, group health coaching, goal setting, accountability, and Q&A time. And then I do have, these are special check-in and accountability calls, 30-minute drop-in calls on the other 2 Mondays. Support and accountability, we're going to celebrate your wins, reframe your challenges, and here's the thing, I love health coaching. The results are just amazing when we see like the 3 women that I showed you the examples. So I'm just going to tell you, turn what you learned today into real life change with support. It's not about perfection, and it's not about doing everything all at once. I hear this all the time. Small daily habits make the difference. And I'd love to be your guide along the way. So if you'd love to join the collective, you can do the QR code. I will be sending this out in an email tomorrow with the recording. And I do think... Oh, okay. If you want to talk to me privately about your hormones, a free hormone clarity call, I do offer that, private and no obligation to work with me. And I do have some free guides for you. I'll send all of this out in the email. And I think that's it for this. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you if you've been watching on the recording. And we're going to get off and I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate you. Okay. Stop recording. Okay.